Hello, and welcome to another edition of Hidden in the Universal Vault. I'm Ryan Kennard, your host, and I thought, you know what? Let's get to the film that I'm going to talk about right tonight. And that's Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. This is a 1982 horror film. It stars Tom Atkins and Dan O'Herlihy. Tom Atkins, who actually was also working on another horror film, Creepshow, at the time when this was released. And Dan O'Herlihy would also go on to be in another Universal film, 1984's Last Starfighter. He plays the main guy in this. I think it's Colonel Cardahan? Colonel Cardahan. I was like, that guy's familiar. Oh, Last Starfighter. He was the guy who was the alien creature. I didn't recognize him because of all that makeup, but he plays the exec. Let's actually talk about the film. So focus on Tom Atkins. He plays a doctor. It's taken basically. This is different. I'm going to talk about the difference in this and the rest of the Halloween movies. But this movie was mainly going to be a spin-off film. This time, out is Michael Myers, and this time we get a corporal executive that basically makes these evil masks to sell around Halloween. So he owns this place called Shamrock Village, who is this big company that makes a ton of masks. But the guy is so corrupt, he kills people to get these masks. So he builds these masks with this little button that like blinks and all that. And I'm going to talk about the twist, and there is a twist in this, and it's really crazy. So basically it's days before Halloween. We don't get into Halloween until near the end of the film, which I do like because the previous Halloween films we just jump right into Halloween. Here you have to wait a while before it comes. I think the main problem is, and this will count into the final verdict, but there's some really nice, really good establishing shots. The cinematography is done by Dean Kunde, or something like that. Let me move that out of the way and put that right there. Don't want that in the video. But basically, a corporate exec wants to make these masks to send out to kids, and they have a kid and they have a family that tours around. That tours the factory and says, I want a cool mask. And at first, the guy, Dan O'Herlihy's character, the corporate exec, he's like the super nicest guy at first, but he's so evil in his mind. If you look into his eyes, you see not only what would have been a super friendly guy, but you see in eyes of a monster. This guy is like so sinister. He bribes kids to buy the masks. Essentially, these masks are so evil they glue onto the kid's face. So they lock him in the test room to show Tom Atkins. So he's a doctor at the beginning of the film. I'm kind of jumping off subject. He's the doctor, but he witnessed a guy who almost got killed by one of the workers there by running over cars. So he's like doing his other things. He's also a married man. He has a daughter. Who's like tells him to turn that off, and the commercial plays, not really commercial, but the commercial Big Giveaway plays into what the main focus is. It can get slow at times, and I felt a little bored at times, like when you go into there, the kid rides on a bike that becomes the victim. His parents tell him, don't go on the road, don't ride the road, and the kid gives the finger to the parents, like saying fund you, I'm going to do whatever I want. So he gives them the big old finger. I'm not going to give the finger on camera. There's kids watching this. So they build that, and he goes into town to take a tour. There's a big curfew that everybody has to be in there. But yeah, it's really, really crazy. So the kid and the family goes in the test factory. They say, put the mask on. You see a big jack-o'-lantern in the film, and that's where the masks start exploding. He drops down, loses his head, the mask gets a bunch of bugs, snakes, the parents are all freaking out, the mother faints, the father dies, by basically being bit by a snake. So the whole entire family's dead. So he's like, basically he ties Tom Atkins' character to a chair and puts on the mask. So he's trying to squirm. Luckily, he doesn't get killed with the mask. So that's not really that's in the film. It's Halloween. The kids need to make it back home. So it's shown all over the world, these masks on Halloween. But, and this is the big but, so I gotta talk about the ending because it's one of the most craziest twist endings. But if you've probably already seen the movie, but if you haven't seen the movie, please stop and go watch it. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. We get back to Tom Atkins, who heads into the gas station. There's a employee at the beginning of the film that sees that. So basically, he's handing out trick candy to the trick-or-treaters. The 3 trick-or-treaters come in, get candy, then they run up to the guy who runs the gas station's TV, and all of a sudden, so Dan O'Herlihy just smiles because he knows he's won. He won. So Atkins gets to the gas station and meets up. I forget his character's name, but he gets to the gas station, meets up with the gas station. So he's calling every network to do that. So one station turns on and says, please stand by. Kid flips another station. Second station says, please stand by. The kid flips the station. He tells him, please turn the station for God's sakes. And then we get the jack-o'-lantern. And then all of a sudden, please make it stop, make it stop, make it stop. Credits. The craziest twist ending I've ever seen. So, let's now talk about what I think this is. And this is my big negative. This movie should have not been a Halloween movie. Sure, they showed the trailer to the original Halloween, then we get that at the bar. But that's very few related to Halloween. Basically, you can watch this film, don't have to watch the previous 2. But it was so bad it bombed to the point of Halloween 4 goes back to traditional Michael Myers. This would also be the last Halloween movie put out by Universal until David Gordon Green would step in the directing chair with Halloween and Halloween Kills. I plan on watching Halloween Kills this year, so we'll get to that movie later. So yeah, now that I mentioned that, this should have not been a Halloween movie. What the title should have been called, and I'm watching off a double feature, it should have been called, I don't know if you can see that, remove Halloween 3, just call it Season of the Witch. If you were to just call it Season of the Witch, it would have made this movie would have made more money if they would have just called it, should have just called it Season of the Witch, or Season of the Witch Halloween 3. But by putting Halloween 3, that's why people never liked this film. So I think I got everything I mentioned. The last review I ran out of minutes, but I have more minutes now, so I can probably go on and on and on. But as a Halloween film, let's actually now get to the final verdict. In terms of special features, there's 0 special features. There's a recommendations section on the DVD, but there is no special, not even additional trailers. They show you recommendations for The Thing and Village of the Damned, which were 2 John Carpenter films. No trailers for them. So yeah, I'm sorry I'm scratching my nose. I don't mean to do that. So I do apologize if I do that. Or scratch my leg. I do apologize. I'm actually recording this really late, so I don't know if you're watching this in the day. But So yeah, I think I mentioned everything. Let's get to the final verdict. And the final verdict is, final verdict. Should you see Halloween 3 Season of the Witch? As a Halloween film, no. But, as its own film, yes. If you ignore the Halloween 3 tagline and just say Season of the Witch, I can highly recommend this. As a Halloween film, no. There are far better Halloween movies. I didn't see them all. Heck, I even thought Curse of Michael Myers was actually pretty good. And I haven't seen that probably since then. But it was so bad, they had to wait for the fourth one to come out in 1988. That's how bad this is. So there was a long gap in it, which is kind of a good thing. So yeah. So they were like, you know what? This movie bombed. Let's just put Michael Myers in the other films and just make that. And I think the series progressively gets better. Though, something like that. But as a film, as a Halloween movie, no. As a standalone film, ignoring the whole Halloween 3, yes. But first, yeah, I mentioned that before. Let's go ahead and take a look at the box art. This is actually a double feature DVD. I thought, you know what? I'll go ahead and get this. Now, this was released as red disc. All the discs were red in this re-release. But I had all three of these on its own, so I thought I'm just gonna do some disc swapping. I'm gonna put the disc art in here. Now, just to let you know, you probably will not get this as disc art. I just did some disc swapping. There's Halloween 2. I don't know if I'm going to cover Halloween 2. Maybe I might do that, but for now, I thought Halloween 3 was a good way to kind of start this, though. Don't worry, I am going to cover Halloween Kills, because honestly, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how this series went with, like, John Carpenter, who define the slasher film genre. I've covered They Lived, which was a John Carpenter film. I do want to cover more of his movies. I will eventually. But I thought Halloween 3 and I forgot to read about the plot. So before I sign off, I'm going to read about the plot though. And I should have read it first, but I forgot. But I'm going to read it to you right now. When a terrifying toy salesman is mysteriously attacked and brought to the hospital, babbling and clutching the year's most popular Halloween costume, the eerie pumpkin mask, Dr. Daniel Chalons, Dr. Daniels, we'll just leave it at that, is thrust into a terrible Halloween nightmare, working with the salesman's daughter, Ellie. Daniel traces the mask to Silver Shamrock, novelty company. Its founder, Colonel Conan Cochran? Yeah, I'm probably butchering that. Basically, that's the plot of this film. I forgot to talk about the plot, but I do apologize. I did mention a little bit, but like I said again, this movie is good as Season of the Witch, but as Halloween 3 in that franchise, no. So this is sort of a no and a yes. No, because this should not have been a Halloween movie. Yes, I'm still recommending it regardless, whether it's Halloween 3, whether it's just called Season of the Witch. It should have been called Season of the Witch, but the writers were like, well, what are we going to do with this? Let's think, guys, oh yeah, let's continue the series and make it on its own. It's kind of like Star Trek getting spin-offs and Star Wars getting spin-offs. It's kind of like taking the Star Treks and Star Wars spin-offs. They're not related to canon to that series, but that. So, I'm just rambling. Thank you so much for watching my review. This was kind of pretty long, but like I said again, I'm not very good at reviewing films, but I am reviewing this. Like I said, this is going in the good section. I'm keeping it because it's part of the Halloween franchise, so I figured why not. So, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. You guys are awesome, and that's really what it matters. The videos that get watched, but we're at almost close to my 180 review, I think. Something like that. But, like I said, if you do want to follow me on my social media pages. Mostly follow me on Twitter. That's where I post all of the content. So, if you guys want to check me on Twitter, you're more than welcome to. That's totally fine. But let's see if I could get up to 100. I'm like at 91 subscribers. So I'm hoping I get to 100 because that would be amazing. But if you watch my videos and comment, thank you. That's all that matters. And you guys are awesome. So I'm going to sign out. Thank you for watching this edition of Hidden Universal Vault. So I'll see you guys next week with the next review. So till then, I guess check out Halloween 3 or Season of the Witch, however you want to call that franchise. I'm just going to call it Season of the Witch. It has no relation to Halloween 3. So I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to see you guys later. Bye.